Hi, welcome to IBM Cloud Certification Series. This is a demo of section 3.4, which is load impact servers. How can you create a load impact test? The first step we do is just log on to Bluemix and search for the type of service that you want to configure, which is basically clicking on the catalog on the screen. Search for load impact. So click on that, and by clicking on it, you'll be shown a space that you need to select and the name of the load impact service. And I'm going to say create on this. Once you click on create, you'll be seeing an open load impact dashboard, and that will redirect you to a load impact website, which will tell you what are the use cases that are there and what are the use case tests that are available for you to just log in. So here, as I have already did this before, I have multiple use cases in this, multiple test cases and user scenarios in this instance. That is, I want to create a new test, and this will ask me to go and select the test which I already have. So I'm going to skip this and go to an advanced mode where I can select a user scenario in here, click on add user scenario, and type in the URL that you want to test your app. The URL can be an application URL that is residing on Bluemix, or an application that you have on in any other on any other cloud instance. So for this lab, what we are going to do is we're going to select an application that is created through a boilerplate called Java Cache Web Starter Boilerplate, and select the URL that I need to test for. So the URL can be found at, if you're clicking at this is the URL you want to select. This is a sample application that I'm going to load test. I'm going to copy and paste this URL scenario for the application which I'm going to load test. So I'm going to add this, so you can clearly see that a user scenario is getting created. As you can see, you created a URL, and there is an auto test script that has been generated for you. First, just go and click on the test name and then rename the test. Once you create that, just click on OK and start editing the script by clicking on Edit Script. So there's a default script that is provided for a load impact user scenario. In our lab, what we provided you guys with is a script that you can just copy and paste. The script is in the last 3.4.5 section, so I have the script already on my editor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the whole script and then go back to my load impact user scenario dashboard and paste it. Once I paste it, you can clearly see that there is a validate button here. You can validate or save. Once you validate, it automatically saves you. The validate button enables you with a compilation of the script and tells you if there are any errors. So I clicked on validate here. So the load impact tool is verifying the variables and everything in the script and to make sure that you can run the script in the right way. So you can see the script validated perfectly, and you can see the validation finished. And once you go back to here and save changes, click on save changes, you can see that there is a test one and there's a user scenario one that is being defined. And so go back to user scenarios in this case and click on this and try to change the name of the user scenario. I'm going to use the same thing here, so just give user scenario and then click on save. Now you go back to the test here, click on the load impact test, and you can see the console saying there is a load impact test. Now you can click on configure here, and that brings you back to the load impact user scenario screen, which will point you to a run test on the top. So before going and executing the test, what I want to do is graphically show you what we can configure here. But here you can go and select the place where you want to run your script from. So there are different data centers where your load impact tool is being hosted on. So from the cloud, there is an instance of load impact tool running in Ashburn, Dublin, IE, Palo Alto, and etc. So I pick Ashburn in this case. The virtual user distribution is what you're seeing here. What does this mean is right now the traffic simulation for the test case, what we are doing here is configured for maximum of 50 virtual users for a duration of 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click on the advanced settings and see the parameters that are available in the advanced settings for you to configure the test. So there is a maximum virtual users, and this is the test that you're going to run for with number of users simultaneously. And you can network emulation, you can select anything. I'm just selecting the load impact tool. You can select any browser in this case. And the bandwidth you can also select if you're running it from a 4G line or an edge line or DSL. There is also a source IP address you want to run it on. You can increase the number of IPs for if you have a paid plan. For the free plan, you only have an option of one IP to run your load impact test from. So I'm going to click on apply in this case, and once you click on it, you can clearly see that you can save the changes here, and you can start running your test. So I'm going to click on the run test. So you can clearly see that once it's in progress, it clearly tells you the active virtual users, the bandwidth used, the number of TCP connections, the number of bytes, and the number of requests made. Everything is being shown here. So in this case, you can clearly see as I'm running from Ashburn, Virginia, the point where it starts the test, and my Bluemix application is in Dallas. It clearly shows you that it's executing this test. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see how your load is getting ramped up from number of virtual users. You can clearly see it is going to 5, 10, 15. As it goes on, you can see it went up to 12. Similarly, the load of the application, as we configured auto scaling for it, you can see that your load is getting distributed based on how your Bluemix application is performing. So this is a clear example of how easy it is to load test your application using Bluemix and the load impact service in Bluemix, and also how you can auto scale your service, view your performance in Bluemix by clicking on monitoring and analytics. And the other piece of it is you can also configure a widget by clicking on additional widget in the load impact service. And also you can add so many things here: load generator, CPU, what is the memory and what is the progress. You can add any sort of widgets that you want to monitor by using this load impact tool. And that's mostly it. You can see the test finished, and there are lots of stats that you can compare with, as you're seeing here. You can, as I said, you can clearly see the URLs that have been hit, and you can see the things that failed or which took how many milliseconds it took. So that's an easy way to test your load impact service. Thank you, and I hope you have a successful cloud certification.